You've always believed overthinking means your brain is just too active, too analytical, too cautious. But what if it's not about your thoughts at all? What if your mind is simply doing the job your heart refused to finish? You guessed it. Overthinking often starts as a defense, not against danger, but against emotion. See, the brain has one mission: to protect you. And sometimes it thinks protection means avoiding pain at all costs, so it keeps you in motion, thinking, predicting, controlling, anything to keep you from sitting still long enough to feel. But the problem is, you can't think your way out of something that was meant to be felt. And that's where overthinking begins to spiral. You start trying to solve what's not a problem, it's a feeling. You can't analyze sadness. You can't logic your way out of loneliness. You can't reason with fear. Yet your mind tries anyway because somewhere in your past, thinking saved you. Maybe growing up you had to be the responsible one, the planner, the fixer, the one who figured things out before they broke. Maybe you learned that being prepared meant being safe. So now you replay scenarios before they happen. You script conversations in your head. You prepare for rejection before you even ask the question. You create backup plans for backup plans because uncertainty feels like chaos, and chaos feels like danger. But wait, here's where it gets deeper. Overthinking doesn't only protect you from pain, it also disconnects you from the present. You're so busy predicting outcomes, you forget to experience moments. You talk to someone you love, but you're half there, half in your thoughts. You walk through a beautiful day and barely notice the sky. You keep your phone close because silence feels too loud. It's like living with your foot pressed on the gas pedal while the handbrake is still on. You're exhausting yourself, but you're not moving anywhere new. But we'll get to that in a bit. First, let's understand why your brain does this. The human mind craves control, and control feels like safety. So when you can't control how someone feels about you or how life unfolds, your brain shifts to what it can control: your thoughts. You start managing every possibility as if you could predict the future by imagining it hard enough. Sounds smart, right? But the truth? It's emotional superstition. It's like knocking on wood, mental rituals that give comfort, not clarity. Let's slow down for a second. Think about the last time you couldn't stop thinking about something. Maybe it was a decision, to stay or to leave. Maybe it was a text you sent, or maybe it was a future you couldn't yet see. You didn't want to overthink, did you? You wanted peace, but peace felt like giving up control, and giving up control felt unsafe. That's the loop. The more you try to fix uncertainty with thought, the more uncertain you feel, because thought can't hold what emotion needs to carry. But there's another layer. Most overthinkers don't realize this, but overthinking can also be a way of avoiding self-blame. When you replay every mistake, it feels like you're trying to make sense of it. But deep down, you're actually trying to prove that you're not the problem, that if you could just think hard enough, you'd finally earn relief. It's heartbreaking when you see it that way, because the overthinker isn't weak, they're hurting. They're someone who was once punished for not getting it right, someone who equates mistakes with rejection, someone who learned that love must be earned through constant vigilance. Wait, doesn't that sound familiar? If you're honest, maybe you've felt that too. That love and safety come only after you've solved every potential problem. That peace is a reward you get after you've earned it. But here's the truth your brain doesn't want to admit. You'll never think enough to deserve rest. You'll never plan enough to feel safe. You'll never prepare enough to avoid pain. Because pain isn't the enemy. Avoidance is. And when you avoid pain, you avoid growth. You avoid the lessons waiting on the other side of surrender. I know, surrender sounds terrifying, but surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means trusting that you can survive uncertainty without trying to outthink it. It means realizing that maybe you're not meant to figure everything out right now. Here's something most people miss. Overthinking isn't a flaw of intelligence. It's a misuse of creativity. You're creating entire worlds in your head, scenarios, dialogues, alternate futures. That's imagination. That's power. It's just being used in the wrong direction. You could use that same creative force to dream, to build, to express, to love. But instead, fear hijacks it. It tells you stories where everything goes wrong, and you believe those stories because they sound familiar. But familiarity doesn't equal truth. The truth is, most of what you fear will never happen. And the few things that do happen, you'll handle them, just like you always have. So here's the paradox. You overthink because you don't trust yourself. And you don't trust yourself because you overthink. It's a cycle that keeps feeding itself. But wait a minute, what if we flipped that? What if every moment of overthinking was actually an invitation to build trust instead of fear? Every what if could become, what if I'll be okay anyway? Every I can't stop thinking about it could become, I don't need to have it all figured out right now. You can't silence your thoughts by force, but you can teach your mind that it doesn't need to panic to protect you anymore. Here's how that starts. Gently, slowly. When the next wave of thoughts comes, don't resist it. Notice it. Name it. Say quietly to yourself, my mind is trying to protect me. And then take one deep breath and let it pass. Because thoughts are like clouds, temporary. They pass when you stop chasing them. This isn't about fixing your mind. It's about befriending it. You and your thoughts are on the same team. They just need to remember who's leading. Wait, before you go thinking it's easy, it's not. But you don't need easy. You just need honest. And here's the honest truth. Your mind learned to overthink because once upon a time it didn't feel safe to relax. But now you're not that person anymore. You've grown. You can handle silence. You can handle not knowing. You can handle life without needing to predict every outcome. The very moment you stop fighting your thoughts, they lose their power. Because peace doesn't come from control, it comes from trust. And that's where we'll pick up next time. Because what happens when you finally stop running from your mind is something far more powerful than silence. But we'll get to that in a bit.
When you finally stop running from your mind, something quiet happens. It's not peace right away. It's not silence either. It's more like the sound of rain easing after a storm. A stillness that feels new, strange, almost fragile. At first, you won't trust it. You'll wait for the next wave of thoughts, the next what if, the next internal alarm. You'll think, this can't last, and you'll be right. It won't. Not yet. Because your mind is still learning that stillness doesn't mean danger. Wait a minute. Read that again. Your mind is still learning that stillness doesn't mean danger. For years, silence meant something was wrong. It meant someone was upset. It meant the calm before a storm. So now when you start to feel calm, your brain panics. It rushes to fill the silence with noise, with thoughts, with worry. But what if you didn't stop it? What if, for once, you let the noise come and didn't fight it? That's where real healing begins. You see, overthinking isn't something to get rid of. It's something to listen to. Every thought, every what if, every replayed memory carries a message. It's your mind saying, there's something I'm afraid to feel. And that's where most people get it wrong. They try to fight their mind, to shut it down. But peace doesn't come from silence. It comes from understanding. So when the thoughts start spinning, don't ask, how do I stop this? Ask instead, what is my mind trying to tell me? Maybe it's trying to remind you that you've been living in survival mode for too long. Maybe it's trying to protect a wound that's never fully healed. Maybe it's whispering that you don't feel safe, not in the world, but inside yourself. You guessed it. Overthinking isn't about fear of the future. It's about fear of the past repeating itself. That's why it feels endless. Because you're not reacting to what's happening, you're reacting to what happened before. The brain replays old stories, hoping for a different ending. That's why you imagine every possible outcome, not because you're pessimistic, but because you're desperate for safety. You're hoping that if you can predict the pain, it won't hurt this time. But here's the paradox. The more you prepare for pain, the more you relive it. You think you're preventing the past from happening again, but you're actually keeping it alive. Let's slow down for a second. Think about a memory that still haunts you. Not the whole story, just the feeling. Maybe it's shame. Maybe it's loss. Maybe it's the fear of not being enough. That's the root. That's what your overthinking is trying to guard. And as long as that wound stays unacknowledged, your mind will keep building walls of thoughts around it, not to hurt you, but to protect you. But protection is not the same as peace. So, what happens when you stop trying to protect yourself from your own thoughts? At first, it's uncomfortable. You might cry, you might feel your chest tighten, you might even want to run. But if you stay, if you just stay, something shifts. You realize that feeling isn't the end of you. It's the beginning of your freedom. Because once your pain is seen, it stops screaming for attention. It finally exhales. And your mind? It finally gets to rest. But here's the twist. Rest doesn't mean your thoughts disappear. It means they lose their urgency. They no longer feel like emergencies. You can have a thought and not chase it. You can feel fear and not feed it. You can remember the past and still choose the present. That's emotional maturity, and it's not built through thinking less, but through feeling more. Wait a second, doesn't that sound risky? To feel more when you've spent your whole life trying not to? It does. But that's the beautiful risk of healing, learning that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Because vulnerability says, I can face what scares me without running from it. I can be with myself, even when I'm not okay. That's strength. And that's what your overthinking mind has been craving all along, permission to stop performing. Let's be honest, overthinking is exhausting, not just mentally, but emotionally. You're always on, always preparing, preventing, protecting, and yet, deep down, you're tired. You want to rest. But rest feels unsafe because your body doesn't yet know peace without anxiety. That's not your fault. It's your nervous system doing its job. You see, when you live in constant alertness, your body learns that tension means survival. Relaxation feels foreign. So even when things are okay, your mind keeps scanning for what could go wrong, just to stay prepared. But wait, here's where everything starts to change. You can retrain your nervous system to find safety in calm. It won't happen in a day. It happens in moments. Moments where you choose to breathe instead of react. Moments where you allow silence without fear. Moments where you say to yourself, I am safe, even when I don't have all the answers. Because that's what safety really is. Not control, but trust. And trust grows slowly, like sunrise. It starts with small choices that tell your body you're okay now. You can pause. You can rest. You can be. But wait, here's something most people miss. When you stop overthinking, life doesn't suddenly become clear. At first it feels empty, like you don't know who you are without the noise. And that's okay. That's what rebirth feels like. That's what coming home to yourself feels like. For so long, your thoughts have been your company. Now, silence will become your teacher. And in that silence, you'll start to notice things you never did before. The sound of your own breathing, the feeling of your heartbeat slowing down, the weight lifting from your shoulders when you stop carrying every scenario in your head. You'll realize peace was never something you had to earn. It was something you had to allow. And the moment you allow it, even briefly, your body remembers, your heart remembers, and your mind finally believes it's safe to let go. But wait, we're not done yet. There's one more piece people overlook: forgiveness. Not the kind you give others, the kind you give yourself. Because overthinking isn't just about fear, it's also about guilt. Guilt for not knowing better. Guilt for not doing more. Guilt for still struggling when you thought you should have been healed by now. But here's the truth. Healing isn't a straight line, it's a spiral. You'll come back to old thoughts, old wounds, old patterns, but each time you'll return with more awareness, more softness, more self-trust. You'll learn that you can have anxious thoughts without being an anxious person. You can have uncertainty without being lost. You can have noise in your head and still feel peace in your heart. That's freedom. Not silence, not perfection, just presence. So the next time your mind starts racing, pause. Don't fight it. Smile softly and whisper, I see you. Because you do. And that acknowledgement, that moment of self-kindness is what your mind has been waiting for all along. It doesn't need you to think less. It needs you to trust more. Because the truth is, you were never broken. You were just scared. Scared of stillness, scared of letting go, scared of living without a map. But here's the secret no one tells you. Life doesn't need a map. It needs presence. And presence isn't found in overthinking. It's found in being. So take a deep breath. Feel your chest rise and fall. Feel the quiet hum of existence that's been here all along. That's peace. Not because everything is perfect, but because finally you've stopped trying